Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our brand new podcast, Financial Behavior. I'm excited to begin this journey to share information with our audience that we hope will be valuable and informative to you. So, we're going to begin the season now that the election is over, unpacking some of the policy proposals for the next administration. So, we'll specifically talk about tax cuts, the proposed tariffs, and immigration, and how that may impact the economy in 2025. So first, let's begin with tax cuts. The proposal is to reduce the corporate tax rate from 21% to 15%. If that is done, what takes place? Obviously, the first impact is a revenue shortage or loss of revenue for the government to fund services. And if the government's revenue is reduced, the question that everyone has is where is the money going to come from to replace the lost revenue? In a perfect world, the hope of tax cuts are that consumer spending increases since consumers would normally have more money. However, in this case, the consumers' tax rates aren't being changed. Only the corporate tax rates are being changed. So in that scenario, with corporations giving less money to the government, where is the money going to come from again? The hope is that it comes from increased productivity at the corporate level. But if that doesn't take place, what does that lead us to? Well, that leads us to deficits rising, which increases government interest payments, stresses the economy, and eventually leads to greater inflation. Many of the business owners seem to think that the tax cuts were going to apply to them. But unfortunately, that's not the case because most small business owners are pass-through entities. So we're taxed at our individual levels anyway. So the corporate taxes aren't going to impact us. Additionally, unless there's a change to the qualified business income deduction that was set forth in the Tax Jobs and Cuts Act in 2017, that would be the only impact that a small business owner would receive is an increase in that 20% exclusion. Those laws are set to expire at the end of 2024 to be renewed 2025. So I'm sorry, into 2025. So that will be something to pay attention to as Congress moves forward. However, in the current proposal, there's no adjustment to the current tax rates that's being proposed. All right, next let's delve over into tariffs and some of the proposals that tariffs and how they can impact us. So, economics 101, if a tariff is placed on goods coming into the United States, that means those costs of those goods will increase. Ultimately, that cost is passed to us as the consumer. Again, that's an inflationary policy. So part of the goal of the tariffs are for U.S. manufacturers to bring manufacturing back to the United States. However, that still becomes inflationary because if we have lower wages overseas and we bring this manufacturing back to the United States where there are higher wages, the cost of that output is still increasing to the U.S. consumer. So again, the tariffs are again an inflationary. Third topic, immigration. Immigration could have perhaps the most impact, or at least will have the same impact in a number of ways. So first, immigration will lead to higher prices. How do we come to that conclusion? All right, well, so if we deport part of our working class, those jobs have to be replaced by someone else. these tend to be lower paying jobs for the most part, and the American worker is going to demand higher wage. So again, we're leading to higher costs of goods. Secondly, again, the thought is we're kind of losing when you move people or working class people out that are also contributing to the economy, then that's a revenue loss as well. So what's that impact downflow? All right, so job growth will slow. So what happens is two things. You've got a population of people that have left who were consumers, who were paying taxes as well, and now they're gone. So what does that mean? So demand for products actually goes down. And if demand for a product goes down, that could eventually lead to layoffs at that particular manufacturer because now they don't have to output as many units. So there's a cost to hoping that, within the immigration policies that we don't again tip the economy in such a way. And since that was kind of a big talking point, it'll be interesting to see what happens with immigration policy. Again, we've already pointed out that actually, if a number of immigrants are deported, it actually lowers wages as well because now demand goes down for products, which means we don't need as many workers, which means the employers aren't as um, shall I say, nervous about finding workers so they can offer less. So the last time, 2008, 2015, 450, from 2008 to 2015, 454,000 immigrants were deported. U.S. born workers' wages decreased actually by 0.6%. Now, that doesn't sound like a lot, but when you think about the fact that inflation increases by 2% each year, impacting our buying power. Now I have my wages being decreased by another 0.6%. My inflation as that worker is actually 2 points. So that's pretty impactful. Um, Another way that immigration will impact us is our social nets, such as most notably Social Security and Medicare. If if we have a population of people that are paying taxes that leave, then revenue is lost, not only tax revenue, but um, entitlement revenue for those programs. So, give you some statistics. The American Immigration Council estimated in 2022 that unauthorized immigrants contributed $46.8 billion in federal taxes, $22.6 billion in Social Security taxes, $5.7 billion in Medicare taxes, and $29.3 billion in state and local taxes. Now, of course, the entire population is not going to be deported, but even if 20%, 10%, whatever that number is, there's some real costs there as well. And I know there's some conversation debate amongst the actual cost of deporting someone, what that costs versus the revenue that we'll lose. So there, it's kind of a double hit from that standpoint. But again, something to pay attention to. So in summation, the policies are, if implemented, can have a quite an impact on the economy. Currently, we've got low unemployment. We've got market rising tremendously. We've got fixed income investments that are now coming back into play that we can use them because rates are starting to come down. Interest rates are starting to come down. Grocery prices. Actually, year over year, grocery prices are almost flat. They're only up 1%. So although it feels like things are unaffordable, and they are from a certain standpoint because, COVID really increased prices quite a bit over that time frame. And we haven't been able to settle back down from those. And you can't go backwards, quite honestly. But, for the most part, the economy is doing great. With the Financial Times stated that we are in the best recovery in the rich world the last 3 years. And these policies could push an already good economy into overheating, which would again lead to actually interest rates going back up, which is not good. Interest rates rise, government debt rises, government interest payments rise, the deficit rises. So again, it's just a continuous circle of how these policies could potentially negatively impact the economy. So again, it'll be interesting to see what's actually put in place. One other tidbit I'll share before we go. There's a columnist who shared a chart graph, and in the chart it shows that when a Democrat in office follows another Democrat, the the economy tends to continue to rise. But generally speaking, well, historically, factfully, so this is not me, my opinion, but these are facts. Generally, when a Republican follows a Democrat in office, the the economy tends to get out to a quick pace for about a year, year and a half, maybe 2 years, so about midterms, and then it starts to kind of go down. If we look back at President Trump's first presidency, you'll see exactly that. We got out to a good start right before 2018 midterms, kind of started to die. Um, so again, we're sharing all this to kind of say these are some things we need to pay attention to. These are things that we are definitely having conversations with our clients about, um, especially as we're managing portfolios. We're talking about retirement income planning. We're ensuring that they don't outlive their assets, protecting their family. So these are definitely conversations that need to be had in order to make sure you're in a position to, one, weather the storm, two, take advantage of opportunities when they come up, and three, just position yourself to look forward to your future in anticipation. So that will wrap up our first episode of Unpacking the Policy Proposals. Generally speaking, we will air twice a month, probably around the 8th and the 23rd. The 8th will be our shorter version. It'll be more factual, market recaps, monthly recaps, more informative. The second will be where I'll probably have different strategic partners that we work with, from annuity advisors, consultants, to our investment managers, to estate planning attorneys. Seems to be a hot topic right now as people are trying to plan for their estates and passing on this generational wealth. We'll definitely do one on inherited IRAs. That's going to be a key topic, and a lot of people are reactionary in terms of the inherited IRA, i.e., the person has passed away and now the inherited IRA goes to the beneficiaries. But there's some tax planning that should take place on the front end, from a standpoint of who should the beneficiaries be, and what ratio should the beneficiaries be in relation to the income and tax bracket that those beneficiaries are in. So we want to maximize the money coming from those inherited IRAs. There's some strategies there that we need to discuss before the person passes away, such that we maximize those dollars for the family going forward. But that will be one. Matter of fact, I'm gonna make that one our November 23rd discussion. Inherited IRAs, how to stretch that money, because some of the rules have changed with Secure Act 2.0, which make beneficiaries, for the most part, take the money over 10 years versus stretching it. So there's some strategies we can get into so we can maximize those dollars. Well, again, thank you all for joining me. First podcast, financial behavior, more to come. And also I will be on another podcast with another group of individuals that we'll be announcing soon as well. So it's a business development guy, CPA, and another financial advisor. So we're looking forward to participating in those conversations as well. Good night, everyone. Talk to you soon. Have a great day.